Hey friends, it's Nick. Today I wanted to talk about all the trials and tribulations I had to endure before I got my total hip replacement. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. In a previous video titled My Biggest Complication from Lymphoma, I discussed my pathological hip fracture, and I also discussed how beating around the bush and radiation treatments ultimately caused avascular necrosis after I was done with cancer treatment. It was a very painful condition, and the only way I could walk was if I walked like a penguin with a broken leg that was kicked in the nuts. It wasn't pretty. This condition worsened as I'm a person who likes to work on my feet, sometimes for 16 hours a day. Some of my coworkers actually called me Limp Bizkit. Love it. I constantly felt like the next step I took could snap my leg clear off my body. My doctor did give me an ibuprofen 900s to deal with the pain, and occasionally I would use the leftover painkillers I was prescribed from my bout with the shingles after my transplant. But this was next level pain, best dealt with my friend Mary Jane. Fortunately, my brain chemistry and her really never got along. So most days and nights, I dealt with this extremely debilitating pain, sober and suffering. So this is what I was dealing with. Avascular necrosis is caused by a lack of blood supply, causing a part of my bone to literally die. I also had chunks of my hip bone missing because, so to speak, my lymphoma ate holes in it. So as you can imagine, I felt like crap. And I dealt with this a long time because, of course, in life, nothing can go smoothly. My wonderful orthopedic oncologist agreed to do a total hip replacement on me. And just to give you a quick idea of how much of an angel this man is, he loves to make beautiful sculptures in his spare time. And for his occupation, he sculpts new bones for cancer patients that have lost them, like me. So not only is he extremely smart and got his medical degree, he's an artist that found a way to mix his passion and profession. And you don't even know how much I admire him for that. But anyway, he takes on my situation, and he believed I would be a good candidate for a hip replacement. However, there was a slight problem. Because so much of my actual hip was eaten away by the cancer, there would have to be a whole other piece to support the artificial socket. And that piece would have to be installed in my hip bone. Great, right? Except for the fact that this is not FDA approved in the United States. So I did have to wait for the FDA to approve this procedure that my orthopedic oncologist needed to perform under what's called a compassionate use. And that means they let patients with life-threatening conditions have access to drugs and devices outside of clinical trials when nothing else is available. I believe I was waiting for them like a few months. And don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with waiting. I'm a totally patient person. But when the least you are on the pain scale is a 7 out of 10 on a daily basis, waiting becomes very intolerable. Anyway, months go by, and I get the news that my prosthesis is not only made and shipped, but it is in Texas waiting to be shipped up my state so I can get this over with. But I also got some other news. They needed me to get an EKG to make sure my heart is good and that I can get through surgery. That test came back so bad that they shipped me to a cardiologist right away. That cardiologist told me that it could either be a faulty test or that my heart is in really bad shape. Okay. At this point, I was thrown into the twilight zone and that I was just gonna get problem after problem. Now my heart was bad? It was surreal. The cardiologist tells me I have to wear a heart monitor for 42 hours, the day before Thanksgiving and the actual Thanksgiving day. Lovely holiday, let me tell you. After the holiday, I go back to the cardiologist, and he tells me the original EKG was probably not done correctly. Okay, good news, right? But I also got some other news. A recent scan revealed a dark spot on my lung. They said, in normal PET scan fashion, that it could be a cold or it could be cancer. But before the surgery, we need to know what it is. Okay, we schedule a CT scan. More waiting. You want to know the results of that scan? It's nothing. I breathe a huge sigh of relief. And now my surgery date is set. But as it turns out, the spot on my lung turned out to be my friend, influenza. Let me just say that if you're a newly diagnosed patient, expect this shit. Nothing will go your way, and there will be annoying surprises all the time. Just saying. Smash like if you've ever had an annoying surprise during your cancer treatment. Or after. Because that's just how it goes, man. And I mean, this was the worst flu I've had in my entire life. And I had to cancel surgery because I was sick for a full 2 weeks. And as you can imagine, this isn't just switching a dentist appointment. This is major surgery, and my doctor only does these things once a week. And meanwhile, in the real world, I'm working my ass off because I was a single woman with a mortgage and HOA fees and electric bills, and it's not like I can just stop. I think New Year's Eve 2018 was the worst day when it came to my pain. I agreed to work a 16-hour shift because it was time and a half, and I figured that if I worked more for time and a half, I would work less the following week. I'll talk a little briefly about my job and why I felt so crappy towards the end of the day. I worked one location by day, one location at night. I set my first location up for success. However, the same courtesy was not extended to me at the other location I went to for the night shift. Nothing, and I mean nothing, was prepared. And it was the busiest night I think I ever worked. And because of the lack of preparation, I was running around. It was chaos, and by the time this chaotic night was done, I could barely walk to the car. And when I got home, it didn't matter if I stood up, sat down, laid down, it didn't matter. I was done for. It was next level, horrendous, crying instead of sleeping pain. Happy 2019. I think I had to drug myself just so I could sleep that night. But after all the pain and suffering, in February 2019, I finally got my hip replacement. In my next video, I'll talk about the actual procedure, all the pain, all the physical therapy, and I'll talk about recovery, stuff like that. I'll even include the story of when I attacked a nurse for waking me up when I was drugged up after my surgery. And I'll also include another story of how they lost some important paperwork, and that didn't work out for me very well at all, so it's a very interesting story if y'all are interested. Please leave a comment down below about your own story. Did you have any complications from your cancer treatment? Did you have to get surgery for your cancer treatment? What was it for? And did you have as rough of a time with it as I did? Like and subscribe for more lymphoma-related content from the eyes of a current survivor and former patient. I love you all. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and watching my videos. It really means the world to me. I've been reading past comments and they all make me smile. I love them all. And you guys really mean the world to me. So I will see you in my next video. Bye. Let's not forget, na zdrovia means to your health if you don't remember my first video.